The fine arrived on a Tuesday. Violation notice: unauthorized swimming, $1,000. Liam Carter stared at it, towel still around his waist, lake water dripping from his arms. He'd just swum across the cove, the same cove his grandfather bought in 1948, the same cove marked private property, Carter family on the county map. But HOA president Natalie Vance didn't care. She claimed the lake was community water and fined him for reckless use. Liam didn't argue. He didn't shout. He just logged into the County Land Trust portal, where he was listed as sole owner of the lakebed and shoreline, and accessed the HOA's financial override clause. One click later, Natalie's monthly HOA fee jumped from $400 to $5,400, and the message was clear. You fined me for using my lake. Now you'll pay for living on my land. Liam Carter wasn't trying to make a statement. He was just trying to live in peace. After 32 years as a financial auditor, he'd retired to the one place that still felt like home, his grandfather's lakeside cabin on Carter Cove, a serene stretch of water nestled in the pine-covered hills. The house wasn't large, cedar walls, stone fireplace, wraparound porch, but it sat on 12 acres of private land, including the entire eastern shoreline and the lakebed beneath. He didn't need much. Morning swims, kayaking at dusk, fresh fish from the deep cove. The HOA collected $375 a month for road maintenance and aesthetic upkeep. Liam paid on time. No complaints, no violations. But Natalie Vance, the HOA president, didn't like his lone wolf vibe. She wore blazers on weekends, carried a clipboard like a badge, and believed rules existed to control people, especially quiet ones. At the spring meeting, she announced a new rule: no swimming in community waters without prior approval. Liam raised his hand. This isn't community water. It's my property. The deed dates back to 1948, Natalie smirked. The HOA manages the lake for all residents. You're just a member. I'm the landholder, Liam said. And I'm the president, she replied. Rules apply to everyone. The vote passed 5-2. Liam was the only no. That night, he pulled out the original 1948 land trust deed, signed by his grandfather and notarized by the county. It stated clearly, all surface, subsurface, and shoreline rights of Carter Cove belong to the Carter family in perpetuity. Even more powerful, a clause buried in Section 9, landholder, may adjust HOA assessments on properties benefiting from private infrastructure. Liam wasn't just a resident. He was the financial gatekeeper, and if Natalie wanted war, she had no idea who she was fighting. The next morning, a red-stamped notice was taped to Liam's front door. Violation notice: unauthorized swimming. $1,000 penalty. He'd swum less than 200 yards at dawn, a routine he'd followed for years. Called the HOA office straight to voicemail. He drove to the lodge, a 2-story chalet with a stone chimney and a sign, Pinecrest Estates, excellence in community living. Inside, Natalie sat behind a polished desk, sipping tea. You're trespassing, she said. I live here, Liam replied. And you violated Rule 7.4, unauthorized use of community water. It's not community water. It is under HOA jurisdiction. She slid a form across the desk. Pay the fine, attend a compliance hearing, or face legal action. Liam didn't flinch. He pulled out his phone, showed her the 1948 deed. She glanced at it. Old paper. Doesn't change current management? This is the law, Liam said. This is a bylaw, she said, and I enforce it. As he turned to leave, a janitor whispered, She's been after this lake for years. Wants to build a private dock for her family. Liam froze. That night, he filed a formal objection with the County Land Trust Office. Attached, the deed, the trust clause, tax records. Reply, your ownership is valid. HOA has no authority over private lakebed. He emailed the decision to Natalie. She replied, irrelevant. We manage the water. Then came the drone. It hovered over the cove every afternoon, recording his swims, his kayak trips, his quiet mornings. Footage was posted in the HOA group. Liam the loner thinks he owns the lake. Liam didn't rage. He installed his own cameras, high-res, solar-powered, cloud-backed. He filmed the drone. He filmed Natalie meeting with a real estate developer. Folder labeled Carter Cove Luxury Docks, Phase 1. He also found something darker. Bank statement. Natalie's son had received $120,000 from a land access fund, not approved by the board. Liam now had two weapons: the deed to the lake and evidence of embezzlement. But Natalie wasn't backing down. 2 days later, sheriff's deputies arrived. Court order, one said. HOA claims your swimming poses a safety hazard. Liam stood in the doorway, calm. You'll need a warrant. They left, but the message was clear. Natalie would stop at nothing, so neither would he. The fines piled up, $1,000. For unauthorized swimming, $750 for excessive kayak use, $300 for failure to install. HOA approved dock lighting, all signed by Natalie. Then came the social pressure. Neighbors avoided him. Kids were told not to play near his shore. A note was left on his gate. You're not welcome here. Liam didn't retaliate. He documented photos, videos, bank records. Then he discovered the financial override clause in the original land trust. If private infrastructure, roads, water access utilities, benefits HOA members, the landholder may adjust assessments accordingly. In plain terms, because the HOA used a private road that crossed his land to access the lake, he had the legal right to adjust their fees, and Natalie's home was one of the biggest beneficiaries. He didn't act yet. He waited. Then, one morning, he found a new notice. Immediate suspension of lake access, pending investigation. Security guards were posted at the public beach. Liam drove to the lodge. You can't do this. Natalie smiled. We already did. He looked around. No one spoke up, but one woman handed him a folded paper. Inside, a list of 14 residents who'd paid dock access fees directly to Natalie, totaling over $80,000, not to the HOA. To her, Liam now had proof, not just of greed, of fraud. That night, he logged into the county land trust portal, the one only the landholder could access. He navigated to the HOA assessment adjustment page, found Natalie Vance's account, typed in a new amount. $5,400 month, clicked apply, a confirmation popped up. Assessment updated. Effective immediately. He didn't celebrate. He just closed the laptop. The game had changed, and she didn't even know she'd lost. 3 days later, Natalie burst into the HOA meeting, face red, clipboard shaking. My HOA bill is $5,400, she shouted. The room fell silent. Liam sat in the back, calm. What? She snapped. You think this is funny? I think it's fair, he said. You can't do this. I just did. Section 9 of the 1948 Land Trust gives me authority to adjust fees for properties using my private infrastructure. Your house uses the road. Your family uses the lake. You benefited. Now you pay. Murmurs spread. One man said, I pay $375. How is she paying $5K? Because she broke the rules, Liam said. And now she's learning what it feels like. Natalie turned to the board. Reverse it. They checked the county portal. It's legal, one said. The room erupted. You've been charging people under the table, a woman shouted. You fined him for swimming in his own lake. Natalie tried to speak. No one listened. That night, Liam uploaded everything. The deed, the trust clause, the drone footage, the secret payments. Title, I own the lake. She fined me. So I raised her fees to $5,400. By morning, it had 300,000 views. Local news picked it up. Then the state auditor's office. Natalie called, demanding he take it down. He replied, I'll take it down when you resign. She didn't, but she wouldn't have the chance. The state launched a full audit. What they found was staggering. Over 10 years, $1.7 million in HOA fees had vanished, not spent, not invested, embezzled, transferred through shell companies, fake contractor invoices, and offshore accounts. Natalie, had been siphoning funds since she took power, using the money to fund her daughter's private school, her luxury vacations, and the very dock project she wanted to build on Liam's lake. Photos surfaced. Her at a villa in the Bahamas, her son driving a Porsche paid for by lake maintenance fees. Worse, she'd falsified safety reports, claiming the lake was public to justify HOA control. Liam handed over his footage, the secret meetings. The drone, the list of under-the-table payments. It was all there. The county engineer confirmed the lake was private, one of the best documented in the state. Liam hadn't just defended his home, he'd exposed a multi-million-dollar fraud that had bled an entire community dry. Neighbors who once ignored him now left notes on his porch. "Thank you. We had no idea. You saved us." Even the sheriff shook his hand. But Liam didn't want praise. He wanted justice. And on a cold Thursday morning, as fog rolled over the lake, federal agents arrived at Natalie's door. Handcuffs clicked. A press release followed. HOA president arrested for fraud, embezzlement, and abuse of power. The video hit 1 million views by noon. But Liam wasn't done. He had one final move. The special HOA meeting was packed. Residents filled the lodge, some angry, some ashamed, all stunned. Liam stood at the front, not as a victim, but as a witness. He played the footage, Natalie's lies, the fake invoices, the offshore transfers. He showed the land trust clause, assessment adjustment authority. He revealed the developer's proposal, private docks, 2.1 meters in profits, all funded by stolen fees. Silence fell, then applause, then shouts of, "Resign!" The remaining board members stepped down on the spot. Liam turned to the crowd. "The lake is mine," he said. "But it doesn't have to be a weapon. It can be a solution." He proposed a plan, open lake access, not to a developer, but to the community, at fair market value, with a 10-year payment plan, no interest. All future access fees would go into a transparent, audited fund, managed by elected residents. No more secret accounts. No more unchecked power. The vote was unanimous. Applause thundered, but one voice cut through. "And the $5,400 fee?" Liam smiled. "It's paid in full, in justice." The next morning, he removed the no trespassing sign. He installed a new one. "Welcome to Carter Cove. Swim with respect." Below it, a smaller plaque, in memory of Grandpa Joe, who loved this water most. The community began rebuilding trust. New bylaws were drafted, an oversight committee formed, and for the first time in years, the lodge hosted a potluck, not out of obligation, but out of unity. Liam didn't speak. He just sat by the fire, watching the stars. Finally, at peace. 1 year later, the lake was officially shared under a resident access agreement. A transparent board managed the funds. No more Natalie. No more fear. Liam didn't become a leader. He became a guardian. He reopened his small bait shop, Carter's Cove Supply, selling tackle, snacks, and kayaks. Kids called him Mr. Liam. Elders thanked him. He even hosted a summer swim day, families splashing. Music playing, fireflies dancing. Natalie was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison, no parole. At her hearing, she said, "I was doing what I thought was best." The judge replied, "Best for whom?" Liam never gloated, but when a reporter asked, "Was it worth it?" he looked at the lake, the trees, the stars above. "Yes," he said. It was about more than water. It was about truth. Now, when new residents arrive, they're told 2 things. 1, respect the rules. 2, never underestimate the quiet man with the deed. And every spring, on the anniversary of the first swim, the community gathers, not for protest, not for power, for peace, for justice, for the man who held the lake and gave it back.